Okay, so back to doing productive things. I've actually been working on the 8700 all week, and I got everything on that's ready to go, except I got to charge the AC, which my buddy Tyler's got the pumps and everything to do that. So he's getting me all the shit around to do that, and then when it gets closer to time, I have to go through and oil all the chains on it, but I greased everything. I wasn't going to bother oiling the chains because it's going to get rained on again, and it's just, we'll wait to oil the chains till it's time to go. But the head's on it, everything, she should be ready to rock. So this thing is going to be next. I have the last bearing to change on the beater shaft over here, which is going to be the fun one. I've been dreading. I've been thinking about it all week, and I have not got myself any more excited about doing it. It might surprise me, it might come apart decent, but I don't have my hopes up. So there's that. I have to finish putting the chopper on, which is easy. Most of that's pretty much done. I already got the side panels changed. All I gotta do is bolt the chopper in, which has already been rebuilt, and put the counter shaft in here and put the belts on, and the chopper's pretty much ready to go. I gotta change the oil in it, and I need to get my feeder house adapted so that I can run that new head. But upon closer inspection this morning, that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge than what I thought, because I was hoping you just weld the stuff on the bottom and put the latches on and you're good to go. Well, it turns out, near as I can tell by measuring, the feeder house, or the old style feeder house, is 2 inches taller than the new style feeder house. So almost gonna have to come in here, cut 2 inches off, weld the plate back on the bottom, and then put all the stuff on for the latches. Which, I mean, it isn't going to be too terrible of a deal. I was just really hoping to be able to keep my side latches, or the nubbins for the side latches, so I could run both style heads. So it might take a little bit of engineering to make that work, but we shall cross that bridge when we get to it. First things first, got to get the rest of the machine ready, which, as long as this bearing is the hard part. Once the bearing's done, we're golden. It's basically just bolting shit on for the chopper and changing the oil. That's easy stuff. So, but my goal for today, I really would like to get this bearing done. I hope to get this bearing done today before I gotta leave to go to work. So, fingers crossed. So I gotta get the chain off. Gotta get some belts undone, and then start pulling. Cannot explain how I am not looking forward to this. It's just not gonna be fun. Okay, so I got all the peripheral crap out of the way, and I'm down to the second pulley. The first one came off easy because that's the one that I pulled off last year when I was working on putting the chopper on. So this one's gonna be the fun one. Everything on this shaft isn't press fit, but it's snug fit, and that's the only thing that holds it on. There's no set screws, no nothing. So, and as you can see, it's a little crusty. So I've already got the torch out, got the air hammer out. We're just loaded for bear. All right, it might come down to having to heat on this thing for a little while and put some pressure on it, and then sit and let it cool and go dink with something else for a little bit, and then come back to it. So we'll see how things go. It might just get apart today. We might have to put it back together tomorrow. But if I can at least get it apart, I'll feel a lot better. Son of a bitch. I think we got a regulator going wonky on the port. I think we got a regulator going. That thing's been getting kind of weird here lately. And where did I put? Huh. Apparently I did not even get it that hot yet. Although, unless my eyes deceive me, it does look like it might have moved just a hair. Maybe not. What the fuck? Well, it ain't like the damn tanks are empty. What the fork? This is gonna get real old real fast. Oh boy. This is gonna be a good time. Okay, so the good news is, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera, and you can kind of see if that shiny spot. That's the shaft. So that lift like right halfway between them two bolts. That there's a shiny spot there. That's the shaft. So it has moved probably a 1/16 of an inch. That's what we got out of her. But the good news is it's moving. But I got everything really warm right now, so I am going to quit messing with it right now. I'm going to eat some lunch, let it cool back down, and then we'll come back out, see if it's done anything, put some pressure on it, put some more heat to it, and then we'll probably walk away from it and mess with the chopper a little bit. And it's probably just going to be like that the rest of the day, is mess with it a little bit, go mess with something else, come back, mess with it a little bit. Basically just heat up, cool down, heat up, cool down, and then that's half the battle. And then the other half of the battle is getting the hub off for the sprocket, because Dad said when he did the 525 he fought that just as hard as he fought that. So yep, I'm gonna go get some lunch, and we're gonna let that thing sit and come back down to a reasonable temperature, and we'll go from there. Y'all ain't gonna believe this, because I don't even believe it, and I'm the one here doing it. It's moving without heat. Went in for lunch, took about a half hour, came back out, threw a wrench on it real quick. The set screw was, it's a set screw, but the jack screw and the puller was loose. Gave her a couple gave it a turn, got it snug back up, hit it with an air hammer, it popped. Did that 2 or 3 times, now it's moving without the air hammer. I shit a brick. I cannot believe that. So I'll get you set up here, and we'll pull on it a little bit and see if our luck holds. I never in a million years figured it would just go. Apparently, the only thing well, I don't know. It doesn't have to make any sense, but I'm wondering if having that thing heated up and then spraying it with WD, I wonder if I got some WD in there while it was expanded. Because it should not move this easy. This defies all logic. Now we're probably gonna fight the sprocket hub all the way off. Because I shit you not, when Dad did because obviously the 525 that ate this bearing that first day trying to cut beans last year, and I was still working third shift, so I started tearing it apart, but then Dad had to finish because obviously I had to go to work, and it took him 8 hours to get this and that off, just to get it off, not to do anything else, just to get this and this off. Took him 8 hours. So we're already money ahead. Okay, now I gotta figure out, I gotta get a block or something to put here so I can get some more, well, no, I can't neither because I don't got enough room here. This is actually the hardest part of this job, is working around the tailings elevator, because it is, the center of the shaft is like right in line with this corner, so you can't really get any normal pullers on here because shit's in the way. Okay, so that went pretty easy. It tapped the rest of the way off with a hammer, and no muss, no fuss. Even the damn woodruff key came right out. But obviously I got the sprocket off because I need to get that off so you can get a hold of the hub to pull it off. And after I got the sprocket off, I noticed probably a good thing we're getting to this bearing, because the dust seal's gone and the cage is gone, and it's just balls floating around in there. Oh yeah. I noticed there was a little bit of a chunk in the shaft when I started taking it apart, so we're getting to this just in time because she wasn't much longer for the world. Okay, so obviously due to space constraints, I can't get a regular puller in here. Plus, I don't think our big 3-jaw might have enough reach to get back there, but it would be freaking tight. But I was able to get, obviously they got a nice 6-bolt pattern in here to hold the sprocket on, so you got 2 bolts right across from each other. So you can take a T-bar without the screw and buck it up against the shaft and use some threaded rod, and Bob's your uncle, you got a puller. So I got her drawn up snug. So I guess we'll throw a little bit of heat at her. Might it doesn't look too terrible. We'll see if we can get her to move. Yeah, can't tell if that thing's got some. Still feels smooth. So yeah, I guess we'll throw a little bit of flame at her and see if we can get it to move. Fingers crossed. Getting some rust with the WD-40, so it's at least doing a little bit of something. What's left of the dust boots in the way. I assume it moved because I had it pretty snug. Oh yeah, it moved. Ever so slightly, but that's all it takes. You just gotta get it started. I really do not want to go beating on the end of that T-bar with the air hammer though, because I don't want to mess the threads up. And I don't really want to go beating on the hub because I don't want to mess the pilot for the sprocket up. Well, I guess I could. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that neither. I really don't. Obviously don't want to mess the hub up since the sprocket ain't going to fit. It definitely moves though. Okay, so we moved it a little bit. I got it soaking. We poured enough heat to it. The shaft is warm now, so the shaft's obviously swelled up along with the hub. So just like before, I'm gonna walk away from it, let it cool down, let everything come back down to size, and then we'll reattack it. So I think I'm gonna go down and grab the chopper and we'll work on getting that hung. Had to do some doctoring on them bolt holes when I got this thing home, because when they got it off the parts combine at the junkyard, they just whacked the bolts off with a torch and screwed the holes all up. So I probably didn't get them quite right when I fixed them, but without something to use for a pattern, what can you do? Well, she sure looks different with a chopper on. So that part's done. I guess we'll go back to fighting this bearing. Or hub, I mean. Well, I had to switch strategies. I kept stripping or snapping threaded rod. So I put, obviously got 2 set screws in here and was pushing against the bearing housing. And it was working pretty good. Put a little bit of pressure on it. Hit the end of the shaft with an air hammer. It'd pop a little bit. Put some more pressure on it. Did that a few times. And then one time I was putting pressure on it and the damn thing popped and moved like a 16th or 8th inch, or it moved a lot in one pop. Well, apparently when it did that, it sent a damn shock wave through the bearing and it cracked the damn housing. So that sucks. You have to make a run over to my uncle's 545 and grab a bearing housing. So I looked, I don't have a spare. But at least we know where we can get parts for it, and oh well. It's moving easy now. Naturally, the minute it popped and broke that damn bearing housing, it started moving fine, so you'll have that on them big jobs. Well, we're finally here 5 hours later. I'm not even gonna piss with doing anything fancy. I'm just gonna take the torch like I did on the other 3 and split the race and pull the thing off, and we'll be done. Throw the bearing housing is junk, throw it all away. But I'll go over to my uncle's tomorrow after I get up. Just once I get this cleaned up and get all the tools and everything put away, it's gonna be time for me to go home and take a nap before work. It's the worst part about 3rd shift. It really screws up your Sunday afternoon. But yeah, I'll go over to my uncle's and I can get the one off the far side of the cylinder, because there's nothing, you don't have to take anything to get that bearing off. It's just you pull it off the end of the shaft. Hopefully it moves okay. I'll have to take a pair of loppers and some shit over there and cut some vines and junk out of the way. But yep, get the torch going, split that thing, we'll be done for the day. Probably had to move my tools out of the way first though. Don't want to be dropping poppets on there. See if it works a little better with the cutting head on than it did with the damn rosebud on. How about that? Well, that was a chore. And just for safe measure, I opened up the front of the machine and shot some water down through there to make sure we didn't have any surprises. But I don't see any smoke, so I think we're good. It's a bummer that that bearing housing broke, otherwise probably ever slapped together, because the hard part's done. Once you get the shaft cleaned up, get all the parts cleaned up, you tap the bearing back onto the everything tapped back onto the hammer. I could have the thing back together in 45 minutes to an hour, but now I gotta go get a bearing housing. And I gotta fix the hole in that washer, or dust shield, whatever you want to call it. Somebody needs to make a tool. How it hasn't been made yet, I don't know, because it's got to be possible. I can't believe it's impossible, but somebody needs to make a tool for doing this, where you can take that bearing and you go in there and you plunge cut it and you just do both sides of that race, just like I did with a torch, except with a something that doesn't use flame, something that uses some sort of diamond carbide thing or whatever, but just go in there and plunge both sides of it, split that race, pull that thing off. That way, when you're in a situation like this where you can't get a puller on it, or you don't want to heat on it, or you don't want to fuck anything up, you just and pull it off by hand. Clean the shaft up, stick it back together. Surely it's got to be possible. But anyway, with all that being said, I do believe I'm going to get all my crap cleaned up and probably go ahead and call her good for the day. Because third shift kind of sucks. But at least I don't got to deal with management on this shift. So, oh, and the other thing I noticed that was kind of interesting, I don't know if you can see, right there, that shield, I don't know, it almost would have had to have ate a rock or something and brought it all the way back around the cylinder, but they bent that, because that's supposed to be, well, it's, you can, if I can get you up in there better to see, but I can't. It's supposed to be straight, and it's got that big old honking bow in it, and the only way to get in there to fix that, you'd almost have to pull the cylinder out. I've never noticed that before. It's been that way for a while, but judging by the way everything looks, but I just noticed that. If this machine could talk. But anyway, I think we got enough footage on this one, so we might continue this on another video. So I guess that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.